Hello, Quirks, New York. I hope everyone is having a great time at the show. I'm here with Dave Hoover, a veteran moderator who has worked with both the quant and qual side of market research for over 25 years. And we're going to talk about a problem that is facing the market research industry. Something which a lot of people are talking about these days is data quality. And the problem is bad data. I think we agree that bad data is worse than no data, because making a bad decision based on bad data has enormous negative consequences. What do you think, Dave?
There's no question that our industry is affected by bad data and sample quality. One of the biggest areas of concern is making sure that we're talking to the right people, that you have qualified respondents. Now, in qualitative research, that means two things. Is the respondent articulate? Are they able to communicate clearly and answer your questions? And the second thing is, are they actually qualified? Are they authentic? Are they actually users of the product or service you're trying to investigate?
So we hear a lot about unqualified respondents on the quant side. Every trade show that I've been to, I think, has had some presentation on bad sample. So why do we hear about it as much on the qual side?
I think there's more attention to quant because quant studies tend to be large, they're expensive, they take a lot of time, where qualitative is more exploratory and getting direction. But let's be real, whether you're a moderator or an end client, we've all had groups where we had respondents who were either not very helpful in the discussion or didn't seem to fit in the group. You internally question whether or not the respondent was really a core user, whether they were really qualified. The problem is this would always become apparent after the group has started. Too late to exclude the respondent. Unless they're really bad, then you have to find a way to kick them out. When we were doing in-person groups, mostly, we would always over-recruit. We would bring in more respondents than we needed. And then we had this reality check when they came into the building. We could see them. We could see how they talk. Are they shy? How they interact with the facility staff. And that way we'd be able to choose who were the best respondents. As we've gone online, that's getting harder to do because we removed that last reality check. Now we typically wouldn't get to see the respondents in person before the interview. So you don't really know what you're getting until it's interview time. So good respondents has become even harder.
So a question. You're moderating and you've gone through a focus group or you've done your IDIs. If you know that you've had respondents that aren't qualified, do you use the data?
So I try not to use the data. You could obviously discount one person's input, but the problem is bigger than just one person. Especially if you're not doing IDIs, if you're doing triads or groups where there's more than one person, then one bad respondent can actually affect the other people that you are interviewing. So they can actually bias the rest of the respondents. And if you're doing groups, then you're biasing 4 or 5 people, and that makes the whole group kind of invalid. The other danger of having bad respondents for a supplier is having your client see that you recruited bad respondents. It can make them question the quality of the whole study. Especially true if the findings you're getting are not aligning with what your client thinks the findings should be. It's very easy then to say, well, you didn't talk to the right people. So as a supplier, it's very important to have good respondents.
The question that I think everybody wants to know the answer to then, right, why we're all here is, how do you fix it?
So about 4 years ago, I kind of solidified an approach that I've been using on and off for many years. It's a way to address this articulation authentication issue. Now, this was before the pandemic even drove everyone online. I had a client who was doing a lot of online qual, and we needed a better way to screen respondents. So I basically wanted to see and hear the respondents talk before I invited them to an interview. So I would have respondents do some sort of video exercise. The specifics of the exercise depended on the project. We could have them go to a local store, see what shelf set they're interacting with, or we could have them buy products and come home and make a video of showing us how they use the products. And then we would provide, respondents with a list of questions that they were supposed to answer in the video, made it very clear for them. This accomplished a number of things. First, we get to see the respondent. We can see how articulate they are in their videos. Secondly, it allows us to kind of extra authenticate these respondents. If a respondent isn't really in your category you're investigating, it kind of becomes pretty obvious in a video whether they're not really a brand user or it's not a normal product they use. The other thing that it allows us to do is also measure how well respondents can follow simple instructions. Obviously, if they can't follow the instructions and answer the questions, that could be a warning sign. To be clear, this is nothing new. In the past, I've used video exercises often, usually for exploratory ethnographic projects. The change here is now I'm starting to do that for every project. This has become more important over the last few years because a lot of qual's gone online. But whether you're online or in person, this method works equally as well. You want to verify respondents before you invite them to a facility for in-person groups. So whether you're doing online or in person, this method applies to both.
That's brilliant. And everything that you just articulated makes perfect sense. And I think I know that people have done homework assignments in the past, but I don't necessarily know that they were doing it thinking about articulation and authentication, right? So you developed a solution. Now I'm dying to know, how does Civicom fit into all this?
So I was doing a project with a tight timeline. I was discussing it with Civicom, and they suggested I try Thoughtlight. And it turned out to be the perfect tool for what I had been doing for years. It also gave me this additional ability to ask all sorts of questions. So not only am I streamlining, gathering my videos assignments to validate my respondents, it also lets me gather all sorts of data.
I think it's great. And thank you for bringing up Thoughtlight. And I'm glad Thoughtlight does that. Obviously, it's our intention to let researchers do what researchers need to do most, which is either moderate or do analysis or both. How does it work? Can you step us through the process of how you use it?
So once we have respondents identified through traditional screening methods, we then rescreen them through Thoughtlight. They're sent a link that connects them to Thoughtlight, and Thoughtlight makes it very easy. They answer any questions we come up with, but then easily allows them to make their videos, follow the instructions, and upload it quickly. As a moderator, it allows us to schedule respondents for interviews because as soon as they upload it, I get a message and I can look at the video and I can say, yes, schedule them, or no, don't schedule them. So it greatly reduced the time to get qualified respondents into my qualitative.
It sounds like you're using the features of Thoughtlight in a way that is both helping you to do what you would normally have done if authentication and articulation weren't an issue, but you've added that as an extra layer onto it. I'm curious to know, do you hold on to the video? Do you show the video to the client ever?
Yeah, I share all the videos with the clients so they can watch anything they want. But there's also another use for those. I do a lot of video storytelling, and especially if you're exploring a category, a lot of times the homework videos can be great for creating a video report, showing people in how they're using different products in their kitchen at home or reacting to products. As you're telling a story, a video story, you can start with those videos and then you lead the client to video of the actual interviews. So we have set up, here's what people are doing, and then here's how they react to your concept or whatever you're testing.
That's so cool. It seems as though you're using Thoughtlight for multiple purposes. And thank you again for doing that. So we've talked about the problem, right? The problem is bad data. We talked about the solution, which initially was something that you created on your own, but ultimately you found that Thoughtlight provided the same benefits or features to save you the time to do the other things that you need to do. As a researcher yourself, what else is there that you think people need to know?
What I think I want people to know about, Tom, is that Civicom offers Thoughtlight as part of the MyQual package. So because it's part of one package, it makes the screening more efficient as it's all in one place. It's one service. So much more efficient, faster, and most of all, very cost effective.
That's music to my ears. Hopefully, everyone will look up the MyQual package, because it's true. We've tried to take 3 products that we believe that researchers can use together and package them in a way that has some additional value for them, right? Okay, so thank you for your time, and thank you everyone out there for your time as well. If you have any questions about MyQual or Civicom or Thoughtlight, you have some people standing by who would be eager to answer those questions. But for you, Dave, if people want to get a hold of you, I know your cards, we have your cards, and I think they're on the table there somewhere, but could you just give your email address?
Sure. People can connect with me at dhoover@methodinsightsresearch.com.
Great. All right. Well, thanks again for your time, Dave. And from hello, New York, to goodbye, New York.
Goodbye, New York.